Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jade up here. Today's video is just going to be a PvE tanking build for dungeons that I've been testing out. I am really liking it. So after we beat Fanglair and Scalecaller a bunch, I have started to test out new sets and just kind of figuring out what I feel is the best for each dungeon that you could just use one set of gear the entire time. And this is kind of what I found. I mean, I do change up my monster set here and there, but other than that, I keep everything the same. So without further ado, we'll just go right into it. We'll start with the gear, then we'll go into attributes and our character sheet. Then we'll go into skills and CP. Keep in mind, I am not gonna go like a crap ton into it. I'll do like a little bit of side noting on it, but on certain things. But other than that, just gonna be straightforward to it. I will say some alternative sets. Excuse me, other than Jorvulds, since I know that it is a pain in the ass to get, especially the sorting board. It took me probably 2 weeks to get the sorting boards. And I probably ran it 2 hours a day. So, if you get lucky and get it, cool. Anyways, long story short, our first set we're going to be using is Jorvulds set, sorting board. Put the Crusher enchant on your front bar with Infused trait, and then Weakening on your back bar with Infused trait. As far as shields go, I like Infused on both, but I don't have enough transmutations to enchant the last one, so I put it on my back bar. So let's look at what Jorvulds does, even though I already did a video on it. If you want to check it out, you can check it out. Just go to my channel and look for it. It says Jorvulds sets. Basically what it does is increasing duration of all major buffs, minor buffs, and damage shields you apply to yourself and allies by 40%. So that's like Combat Prayer and Warhorn. It's at 9.5 seconds for major force, right? And or at least for Warhorn, it's we'll just go for what tanks use. Tanks use Warhorn, major force, 9.5 seconds. It increases it to 13.3 seconds, and once we go to the skills, you'll see. But I already did a video on it. If you want to look, as far as for tanking, DK tanking, you'll be able to see what kind of sets or what kind of skills you're going to be using with Jorvulds. It'll have a list of the buffs that it does, and then it'll have without Jorvulds to the right of it the same skills. So you'll be able to see with and without Jorvulds on one of my videos that I made last week. So that's what that set does. We do have sorting board on both bars, and then jewelry. As well. And the only reason why we do that is because it's a light armor set. And that's the only reason why we're doing sorting board and jewelry. Now, I do have magic recovery on my jewelry, on all of them. I've tested out all magic recovery. I always have one magic recovery on my jewelry, so we'll just exclude the necklace, right? So on our rings, I have tested out 2 magicka reduced costs, and I have tested out shield plate, which is the block cost. I didn't mind the 2. I didn't really notice a difference between 2 and 1 block costs. And the only reason why I say that is because I don't block a lot, especially not in dungeons. The only time I'm blocking is honestly if I have a little bit of stam. You know, most of the time, like I'll road dodge a heavy attack, or I'll just sit there and block it. Just kind of how I feel like playing. But if you do block it, you don't really notice it, because immediately after the heavy attack, immediately after the heavy attack that the boss does, you're gonna be heavy attacking into an igneous shield. So you do that 2 combos, and you're gonna get a lot of stamina back anyways. But what I will do is I'll probably end up swapping this to at least 1 shield play, and then keeping the magic recovery on, or at least keeping 2 magic recovery on, and then putting 1 shield play on. Totally up to you, totally preference. If you feel like you need 2 shield plays, put it on. If you feel like you need all magic recovery, keep it. If you feel like you want to try the reduced cost and do it, I mean, just put a purple one on there on both of them and then test it out. I mean, do what you feel like you want to do. Our second set is going to be torugs Pact, and just basically what it does increases the enchant that you have in your weapon by 30%. So if you look at this, on the left side, it's with the 5-piece torugs and the gold of the weapon at 2740, and on the right it's at 2635 as far as purple. The only reason why I have the right side on purple, which is the gear I have on now, which is purple, the only reason I have it is just to kind of show you what the difference is between a gold infused crusher and a purple infused crusher. Oh, battery's running low, so we gotta hurry up. So our monster set, we're using blood spawn. Pretty self-explanatory. Anytime you take damage, 6% chance to generate ultimate, physical, and spell resistance for 6 seconds. The other sets that I have tried out Earthgore and all these dungeons. It's okay. Don't really recommend it. Malubeth, if you want to be lazy, definitely go for it. I like being lazy sometimes. No shame in it. Chuden, again, if you like being lazy with a healer, it's awesome. Or even without a healer, it's pretty fun to play. I don't suggest this set. I have tested it out in the numerous dungeons, and if you apply minor maim and minor defile is kind of useless, but minor maim is like, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, it's not that great because most of the time you're using choking talons anyways, and if you're not using choking talons, you're hitting them with heroic slash. So kind of useless. They both apply minor maim. I have messed with Zon. It's fun to mess with people, but don't suggest it. Lord Warden, only if you have 2 or more stam, it's kind of nice to do that. If you just have 1 stam, I wasn't really worried about putting on Lord Warden. I put on Bone Pirate, Pirate Skeleton. It's okay. I wouldn't recommend it. Now, as far as alternative sets until you get Jorvulds, I would put torugs on your sword and boards, and then 3 on your body, and then put either Ebon Dragon or whatever set you want to put there as far as your 2 body and then 3 jewelry, just until you get the Jorvuld set. Character sheet, here's what our character sheet looks like. This is without any buffs other than food. We'll buff up right quick. And there you go. So we're basically looking at spell and physical resistance. 33k and then 28k. It's more than enough to tank. I've tanked everything in light armor and medium armor. I tanked the harder ones on light armor just to kind of see if you could do it. You can do it. It's extremely a pain in the ass, but it's doable. And you're going to be wearing heavy armor anyways. And I did test it out without even hitting balance. Like, I took balance off and put Green's Dragon Blood into my back bar. I put, what did I put? I think I put Purge or something there. And it wasn't that bad, honestly. I did that with shooting, without shooting. It wasn't that big of a deal. But without your major resolve and major ward, you're at 28k and then 23k physical and spell resistance. Whatever. Attribute points is not optimal. I'm trying to work out what I feel is necessary for me. I do tank a lot, and a lot of times I'm doing trials, and if I'm doing trials, I'm off tanking or main tanking. So I'm trying to, and I'm always swapping gears. So I'm trying to find that right set of attribute points where I don't ever have to change attribute points again. So that's why it's where it's at. Put in whatever you feel is necessary. I like around 35k health and roughly around 20k stam, which, I'll get there, but still kind of testing it out as far as the attribute goes. But we are a vampire, mainly for that little bit extra recovery. It's kind of nice. We are using the lady. I've tried the astronaut. I've tried the max health, the max stam, max magicka. I just like the lady. That way I don't have to worry about changing any of my gear or anything like that as far as like the traits go. So I just like the lady just to get that little bit extra physical and spell resistance. It's kind of nice. And then I'm using tri-step food. As far as skills, I don't really change my front bar that much. The only ones I do change would be my Absorb Magicka and Barrier, but we'll just go from left to right. Pierce Armor, just your stamina taunt, affects them with Major Fracture, Major Breach. Balance, gives you Major Resolve, Major Ward. If you use Chuden, you wouldn't really be popping this every 36 seconds. You'd only hit it whenever you need Magicka. Absorb Magicka, I usually only hit this if something shoot at me that's a spell projectile. That way I can get a little bit extra health back. Igneous Shields, only popping this usually about every 7 seconds or so. Just to get ultimate. If I do go into quick healing, I will hit Igneous, swap over, hit Green Striker Blood, just get that little bit extra crit healing. Because that way you're activating Major and Mending. Heroic Slash, just to applies that Minor Man to a single target. And negates Minor Heroism, which is really nice. Barrier front bar, mainly for that little bit of extra recovery you get from the PvP skill line. The more you have of a support class on your bar, the increase in magic recovery you have. So you can interchange it with whatever you want. I just like it just because of that. And we do go for no death a lot, so it's kind of nice to kind of pop this in oh shit moments. Inner Rage or Inner Fire, whichever one you want to use, Stamina or Magical Morph, doesn't matter, it's just a range taunt. That's all you're using it for. Green's Dragon Blade, I use this for oh shit heals. It's a nice one, gives you Minor Vitality, which is really nice. Choking Talons gives you that AoE Minor Maim to the targets. So that's what we were talking about earlier about Minor Maim with the helmet. Engulfing Flame, if you got people coming in using flame abilities, or fire flame abilities, whatever you want to call it, you can put this on and keep hitting it. I suggest you keep this up just to kind of get in the habit of doing it if you ever go into trials, main tank, off tank. Chains, dang it, I knew it was going to happen. I'll be right back and swapping this over. I'll be right back to, actually, you know what, I'm not going to edit it out because this shit happens. Alright, so, yeah, anyways, engulfing chains. Only reason why we're using this is basically to chain in adds and then hitting choking talons on them. Now, in Scale Caller and Fanglair, some adds you cannot pull towards you and the group. So what you're gonna do is you are gonna go to that ad you cannot chain, and then you're gonna chain the other ads to you. If you have the other one, if you have the melee taunting on you, then it's easy. They're gonna stay on you anyways, and you just chain in the rest of the ads. This does do a little bit of a soft taunt, so if you do use this on an ad, it will stick. It will start attacking you for a few seconds, and it'll go away. Just kind of keep that in your head. Magma Shell on your back bar. This is if you're kind of self-sustaining and you don't really, if you're pugging it, you know, in the activity finder, I put Magma Shell on. Just depending on which one we're doing. If we're doing a kind of a pain in the ass one, then I'll put it on. But most of the time I'm running aggressive Warhorn. About 98% of the time I am. And the only reason why I'm using it is with Jorvulds is because the major force 13.3 seconds. It's really good. It gives, sometimes when you're getting a pug run, it's really pain in the ass because some of the builds that people have are just very unique in their own manner that they just don't do a lot of damage. You'll see somebody in the back just spamming snipe or hitting a bunch of light attacks. If you pop your Warhorn, their light attacks and snipe spam will do that just that much more damage because they'll get major force. But 98% of the time, if you have like a somewhat decent group, it's gonna increase the damage that they do for 13 seconds, and it's really good. With the Jorvulds set, even without Jorvulds set, it's still pretty good. 9.5 seconds. That's what it is. Now, as far as that CP, I'm not really going to go into. I'm just going to kind of run through them, and then that's it. 7 and 3. 75 in Arcanus, which is kind of nice for that recovery. Tenacity is 11. Shadow Ward, I put 100 in it, 44 in a Tumbling, because I do dodge roll a lot, and then Shadow Ward just because I'm not running any sturdy. Blessed Elf Ward and 100, mainly because what else are you going to put it into? You could put like a bunch in here, or in this tree, whatever. But honestly, whatever. You could put some of the precise strikes, but I'm not using vigor. I'm not using any stam heals, so this is really extremely pointless for me to be using, and I don't put it in there. But if I do start using vigor again, then I would take out probably some. I'd probably go to 81 and then 75, and then I would put some into here. 66 Ironclad, just to mitigate some of that direct damage. 56 Hardy Ellie Defender, 37 Thick Skin. And then I put 11 and 14. Just kind of swap those up. Been messing with them here and there, but I mean, just to get a little bit of extra physical resistance and some of the armor that I do wear as far as like off tanking and stuff like that. It is kind of nice to get that little bit extra physical resistance. Then the 3% extra healing received, which is kind of nice. And if you are resing, this is kind of nice. Just for this passive. If you're resurrecting another player, your damage taken is reduced by 15%, which is kind of nice. So, if you're off tanking, you're definitely going to be resing during some points. And if you're in a dungeon, it is kind of nice to get that mitigation going. So that's why I do have a little bit in there. If you don't put it in there, at least put 10 somewhere in there, and you run a dungeon, this will be fine. And that's pretty much it. Try to make it a short video, quick and straight to the point. That's what I'm going to try and start doing later. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And hopefully, if you start using this build, you'll see that it definitely increases your group DPS as far as 4-man content goes, dungeons, and maybe even DSA. I haven't tested it in DSA yet, but I will be testing it in the next few weeks. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.